We are off to game one. Frankie gives Joe his deck.
On the left, Joe Lossett playing the Cephalid Breakfast deck, and on the right, we have Dredge.
I like that he has the Ion in the main. Joe's going to take a quick gander.
Frankie waiting back to see what happens from the opponent. Joe thinking it through. He said, that's fine, I think. Frankie starts us off. City of Brass. Careful study, perhaps? Careful study.
Ooh. I mean, that's about as good as it gets.
Yeah.
All right. Joe decides to use a Force of Will.
That is not unreasonable.
That is not unreasonable at all. When your opponent's deck does one thing, one very specific thing, that is exactly what you want to do. Joe has a Vial for turn one. He's going to pass the turn back.
Okay. Turn two here. Frankie takes a little bit of damage.
There he goes. He's casting a Breakthrough for one. And another Force
of Will.
All right, now Joe's got to be on very few cards at this point. 2 cards. But he could actually just win next turn on 2 cards.
1, ratcheting up the Aether Vial to 1.
Here he goes, cracking a fetch. I imagine he's going to get a Tropical Island. There he goes. Just let him cast Worldly Tutor if he draws it. If he happens to already have it in his hand, that would be ideal. Now, let's see. Now it looks like Frankie might have another breakthrough. No. And that's a Worldly Tutor.
It might be done.
Yep, I think we're going to grab a Nomad. He has a Cephalid Illusionist in his hand, and that's Nomad Encore. Yep, that'll do it.
There we go.
And Joe Lossett Force of Wills 2 of his opponent's spells, and then kills his opponent on turn 3.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. So, all your friends who are saying that Cephalid Breakfast is not a good deck, I would like to give all of them a quick shout out right now.
I don't think they said it wasn't a good deck. I think they said they didn't see a reason to play it over Dredge.
There it is. And Joe's going to begin targeting himself here. And Frankie just packs it in. He says, let's save some time. That was impressive.
That was a very quick game. The double Force of Will there. I mean, basically the Dredge deck can't get going unless it has some outlet. It has so many potential outlets. Between Careful Study, between Breakthrough, the Imp. This is not a Tireless Tribalist, but that's a way you can go if you... Oh, no, he does have a Tireless Tribe. So he's got all 16. He's all in. I love it when they play Tireless Tribe. That's the way to go if you ask me.
Yeah, it makes you a lot less susceptible to just like getting forced and just being out of a game.
Yeah.
You know, because you really just need that piece.
For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here, and I'm here with Jacob Van Lunen at the Star City Games Live Open Series here in Los Angeles. Many of you might really enjoy getting some Star City Game premium action on 6 free months. Please tweet to hashtag SCG Premium the answer to the question that we're going to pose to you today. And this is going to be a very, very simple question. In this morning's coverage, and you can find this coverage on StarCityGames.com, what deck was the eventual winner? What archetype was the eventual winner of the standard portion of the Star City Games Open Series? Tweet that to hashtag SCG Premium, and you, if you answer correctly, could be one of the lucky people to get 3 months of premium. In this case, it'll be 6 free months. Looking at the sideboarding here for our competitors, Joe Lossett on the left here with Cephalid Breakfast. We've already talked about the Fairy Macabres. He's got a couple other things he could play with that are marginal, because basically he does want to go very quickly. Do you think he would bother playing any of his more marginal cards besides the Fairy Macabres?
I don't know how much he can really sideboard. I know the therapies aren't good against Frankie, but like he needs to keep at least 2 therapies in. Maybe he only needs to keep 1 in, just in case he draws a combo piece that needs to be in his graveyard. He needs to have the ability to therapy himself. So
right.
Sideboarding's tough here. He gets to be on the play in game 3. Days gains value. Oh man, how would you sideboard here? I think
What does Woodfall Primus?
Woodfall Primus destroys a non-land permanent when he comes into
But
play.
yeah, but what does that do for him in this matchup? Was what I was going to say.
Little to nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Fairy Macabres can.
I like the Gilded Drake. The Gilded Drake can potentially steal an Iona, which seems reasonable.
Yeah. Huh. That's definitely true.
I mean, there's not many cards to work with here that aren't actually very powerful for Joe Lossett. The other side of the table,
I really like that he's the Worldly Tutor Gilded Drake piece in his deck, though.
Yeah.
Like, if his opponent just drops an Iona into play, he can be like, okay, Worldly Tutor on step, Gilded
Yep.
Drake. That's fine. It's actually exceptional.
I got this awesome. I got this special key.
okay. Wow, double Force of Will. And I wonder if one of those Force of Wills hadn't resolved, the real risk of it, because he couldn't have been killed right away on that second Force of Will if he didn't have it by Frankie. There's a small delay that would have happened before he could have been killed, but it might have opened the opportunity for a Cabal therapy to really, stop, in return, Joe Lossett from being able to win.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Worldly Tutor is actually quite good at fighting the Cabal therapies. You hide the common pieces and put them on top of your library.
Yeah. But he still has to have the 1 in his hand.
Sure. Yeah. At that point, 50-50 guessing game, right?
Yeah.
All right. We're off to game 2. And Frankie is once again on the play. Frankie's going down to 6 cards. And Joe is keeping his initial 7. So
One of the best things about the Dredge deck is it is one of the most powerful mulliganers that has ever existed in this game.
oh, that's definitely true.
No deck really wants to be mulliganing in general, but when you can kind of mulligan to the point where you're like, 4 cards is fine, I'm good, 4 cards isn't terrible.
Oh, I'm sorry. So Joe Lossett has to bring in his Pride Mage and his Venser.
Just as an opportunity to answer a card on the table.
Yeah, he needs Needle Answers. I forgot that he doesn't play this main. I mean, he has Dazes and Forces, but I don't know if you want to be using those cards defensively. On the draw, especially.
Looking at his hand, doing some thinking after that mulligan.
He's going to go ahead and play City of
City of
Brass.
Brass.
And pass his turn. No turn 1 play from Dredge. Pretty exciting thing for Joe. Joe cracks fetch land, gets down 19. So they're gonna grab like a Tundra or a Trap here.
The first turn play that he
Ooh, an Underground Sea. So that's
that
an
opens up for
choice.
Cabal Therapy, Preordain or Ponder. Leaves him with Daze mana available.
Yeah.
That was good. That was a good match. That would have been a much better feature match than yours.
Cabal Therapy.
Ooh, name of Pithing Needle, I guess.
He sees Niona. He sees a Firestorm. Ouch. And is that a Dread
Dread
Returns?
Return. That does not seem like a keepable hand to me.
Yeah, I do not know why that was a hand that was kept. I mean, he didn't have a turn 1 play either. I mean, he's got an outlet if he draws a Dredger, but
No, I didn't read what I wrote down.
lays a
He doesn't
Coliseum.
even have a defensive needle. And the actually the Shaman Encore makes the needle not quite as scary, huh? I guess his opponent would have to name Kiki Jiki.
Aether Vial, 2 mana down. A second Cephalid Coliseum joins the City of Brass. That is a lot of mana for a Dredge player, which is usually a sign of the game not going according to plan.
Yeah. That is not what a Dredge player wants to see. But those 2 Coliseums mean that he can just explosively go off
Absolutely.
at a moment's notice. If he needs to.
Absolutely. If he gets that first Dredger, once he's got the threshold reached, he can just explode his graveyard in one huge turn.
Yeah, and he has the Dredger in hand now. Firestorm is random. Yeah.
That's not true.
Yes. It's random.
No, it's not.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I've cast Firestorm several, I would say 100, if not more times. Not random.
We are. Brainstorming. Happens. He knows he has to play around this Firestorm, but he has the therapy in his yard, so it would be exceptionally difficult here. He's going to crack this fetch line. At this point, I imagine he's going to grab the Tundra. Grabs the Tundra. Shovels away those cards that he put back with the Brainstorm.
One of the really cool things about Cephalid Breakfast is its ability to mimic the actions of a controlling deck. Because it has these cards like Force of Will that are real control cards, and the Brainstorm ability with fetch lands.
Yeah. That's just a pretty huge thing to have.
Requires X. Yeah. That's when
Now,
X damage.
with Joe thinking like this, I imagine he's trying to think about whether or not he can win right now.
Win through a Firestorm.
Exactly.
Kasali Pride Mage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I think Frankie's about to Firestorm away a good deal of his hand.
Firestorm for 1 or 2, probably 2.
Yeah, and Iona.
Oh boy, there it is.
Shred Return.
For 3, hitting himself.
All right. Now,
Now that is the smallest of his dredge outlets.
yeah. So he could just whiff here. But then he actually has Coliseums, so
Yeah.
those can put the thug back in, and then
Well, he does need to get... Oh, what do we got here? Fairy Macabre.
whoa,
Oh!
that's brutal.
Oh, Fairy Macabre. Ouch. It's leading-
Actually, as good as it gets.
Wow. Untap. Untap.
That's sick.
A naturally
That's
drawn
awesome.
Fairy Macabre. He had some brainstorms and other manipulation in there.
Worldly
now,
Tutor
Worldly
during my
Tutor during the upkeep. That might be all she
And-
wrote.
I mean, I imagine that's all she wrote. He seems like he's a very solid player. He's not going to Worldly Tutor for one combo piece unless he has the other one. Or another Worldly Tutor.
Right. He draws the Illusionist. And there's another Worldly Tutor in his hand.
Very nice.
So it's a wait, one turn away.
Upkeep all Worldly Tutor.
Worldly Tutor number 2 to finish off the combo pieces.
All right. Worldly Tutor again. This time he's grabbing a Nomad. And this is all she wrote. Yep. Let me drop these cards into play.
There's one piece.
And here is the other piece. Boom. And that's it. Joe Lossett goes on to the finals. I mean, unless Frankie Mach could have a Firestorm again. It's possible. In which case, he will deal with the Illusionist, but the Nomads will still be there. Now, he's making his opponent go through the motions. It's fine.
Remember,
To,
if there's some... What spells were actually cast this turn?
Worldly Tutor and Nomads in Core.
Right, which means that once he casts a Dread Return, a Mindbreak Trap could counter.
That's true. Well, he's Qualtharping his opponent right now.
Yeah, just checking. Just checking, okay.
Just checking it out.
Just making sure.
Yeah, there it is.
He's at, yeah, you don't need to finish it
Joe
off.
Lossett goes to the
There
finals.
we go, that was really
Cephalid
cool.
Breakfast in the finals.
Nice.
That's pretty awesome. And Joe's playing really well.
Yeah.
He's just like taking his time, playing safe.